I'm catching up on a few of the evaluations. Now, this evaluation is for Sujata's speech title Stuck in the Middle, Finding Who Am I and When is the Right Time. This is an icebreaker speech, so I'll be very lenient on how we progress. And this evaluation is typical a non-Toastmaster evaluation. I would be giving it into two parts. One is what she did well and what can be done better and where I was confused. Let's talk about the structure. Sujata asked a question like, how many of you have had experience where you are stuck and at Richmond and going towards Flinders Street and so forth? When we ask a question in the introduction, it grabs the audience's attention. So that's a good strategy. I found the speech was easier to listen to. It was started with Raichur, childhood, her dad, then moving to a new city, the teenage years, and eventually in Australia. I found it's easier to listen to, which is quite important in big speeches where we go from like we call them as the origin speeches. I also like the contrast when Sujata used contrast, like I was loved by my teachers but I was hated by boys, and that adds a lot of, I would say, drama, and gives a lot of, I'd say, good decoration to your speech. Dialogues, I like dialogues between dad and daughter, and dialogues between Sujata and her husband. And that was quite interesting when we put in dialogues there. It brings the audience in that very moment and adds a lot of drama. So well done. The good thing about the other one is Sujata did not use notes. That's a huge plus from me. And I commend Sujata on the attempt to use humor. I come from the power city. I had power, naturally. Misunderstanding of the husband's literal meaning of journey, like Sujata's literal meaning of journey, whereas her husband's metaphorical journey of life. Now, English was studied in the regional language, so that was quite some places where Sujata attempted humor, so well done. Now, if I'll have around 6 points of feedback, let's focus on first in clarity. Now, when I, as the audience, was constantly moving from, it was like a fast paced move from childhood to adulthood, I got confused around the title of the speech. I felt the title of the speech did not marry into the whole speech. What I would recommend, and you could see the MC struggling to put in such a long sentence when she was presenting. So potentially shorten the title to say 5 to 6 words so that everybody can remember it and pronounce it impromptu. The second was when Sujata asked a question around getting stuck and all, I got confused around what the point was. The question was getting stuck. At the same time, I did not find a connection of the question onto the stories. So potentially relook into, does the question is just not to grab the audience, but for what purpose? Ensure it ties down to a purpose of the speech. There was a chance where there was a statement, I did repeat that, I was hated by boys. But why? What was the story behind it? I, as the audience, was really curious to understand why was she so much hated. Sujata also mentioned that I went to Bangalore, a big city, and where I met my husband and I achieved my dreams, and then proceeded. Now, This is actually a big suspense killer. When we mention that I've achieved my dreams, then that's the end of the story. Now it's always a huge task to bring back the audience and make them focus and keep them listening. What could have been done better was getting into I reached there, I met somebody, and in the end, reveal that, okay, how he became your husband. As I mentioned, compress your title, did not be big, and let humor. I have also noted there is a good attempt at humor, but let it, I would say, craft your humor such that you pause, you let the audience catch up, and then you give something known as misdirection. We'll cover humor a lot in the upcoming sessions, but love the speech overall. I'd say getting it, it's simple enough, but make it more simple. And yeah, once we fine tune it, you are off to the rail station. That's what we say. Thank you, and I look forward for your next one.